Welcome to another week of Quick Compare, where we take multi-platform games, choose two versions, and see which one is better. Today, we are going to be looking at the best thing to come out of Star Wars Episode 1. Not that. Yes, we are talking, of course, about Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And today, we are looking at Nintendo 64 versus Sega Dreamcast. Today's compare request came from Ancient GameStar from over on my Discord server. Thank you for that request, Ancient. And you actually requested this one before Good Old Games released Episode 1 Racer just a couple of days ago for modern PC hardware. So, honestly, hands down best version. Does need a couple of tweaks to fix a couple of graphical issues, but overall best frame rate, best resolution, best graphics, best controls, best everything. But let's take a look at these console guys. Now, before we dig into any side-by-side comparisons, we need to discuss the N64 version of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer real quick, because it was co-developed at the same time as the PC version. They both released the same day as Episode 1 in theaters, and N64 version is actually pretty interesting because it could utilize the N64 expansion pack to produce higher resolution graphics. After testing it with both the expansion pack in and out, it's honestly very interesting. The game feels like it runs a lot smoother to me without the expansion pack, but you are sacrificing a great deal of visual quality. The game runs at 240p instead of 480i. And another thing I noticed when I was playing it in 480i with the expansion pack, when you're doing turns, which most of the game is, boxes would appear on the screen. It was very noticeable. Like, you'd turn and you would see these graphical artifacts popping up. And I don't feel like I really ever noticed that before. Maybe I was just looking really too hard into it, but those were not there in the 240p version without the expansion pack. Another thing I noticed about playing the game in 240p is lighting effects were trying to do an on-screen effect versus being kind of absent in the 480i version. So for the sake of this comparison, I decided to run it completely in 480i mode to kind of give it more of a visual parity with the Dreamcast version, which I am running in 480p VGA. But I felt it was worth noting these differences between running it with and without the expansion pack. Alright, so let's touch a little bit on what is actually different between the N64 and Dreamcast version of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. First off is obviously resolution. We already been touching on that. N64 runs in 480i. My Dreamcast version, I am running it in 480p VGA. So Dreamcast is going to have a much sharper presentation. It's much higher resolution. Overall, much better looking game, much smoother game. Frame rate is much better on Dreamcast. And the Dreamcast version, I believe, is actually an enhanced port of the original PC version. And there is actually some added lighting effects that are not present in the current PC version, like lens flares. So whether you like them or not, they have been added into the Dreamcast version. Another obvious advantage for the Dreamcast is the fact that it is using an optical drive instead of a cartridge, so there is a lot more music and cutscenes present in the Dreamcast version of the game. Unfortunately, this is counterbalanced by the fact that it does require load times that are not present on the N64 version. Content-wise, both games are nearly identical. They have the same number of tracks, and I would say that same number of characters, but the N64's biggest advantage comes in the form of cheat codes, and said cheat codes unlock 2 extra characters by swapping them out for 2 of the included characters in the game. Cheat codes also allow you to use 2 N64 controllers to control your pod, 1 controller for each engine, and results can be quite hilarious. So if you've played the arcade version, Star Wars Racer, you kind of know what to expect here. Both games do offer split-screen multiplayer play, so you can play with a friend in a versus match, and that's basically it. So let's go ahead and decide our winner, and honestly, for Episode 1 Racer, it really could go either way, but today I am going to choose the Dreamcast version. Even though it doesn't have cheats, I feel like the visual upgrade is well worth the added load times and just overall better presentation. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Quick Compare, and as always, if you would like to see any games compared, leave them down in the comments section below. Also hit that subscribe button, that like button, that dislike button, really depending how much you like this video. And as always, we will see you back next video. Please enjoy this side-by-side comparison of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on N64 and Dreamcast.
Welcome to Tatooine, pod race fans. Our glorious host, Jabba the Hutt, has moved into the arena.
Yabo de Jabba the Hutt.
The current record holder for this track is Anakin Skywalker.
Oh no! Come on, work!
It's a new lap record.
Watch out, exhaust for brain! Oh no! Come on, work! It's working! It's working!
It's a new lap record.
the spice mines, second only to Kessel in spice production. The air's thick with tension out there today.
Yes, not to mention all that dust. I see that our host, the guild boss himself, the infamous Groksuga, is about to signal the start of the race. My money's on Team Topagales for this race. Just look at the size of those engines. It's a new lap record!
Welcome, pod racing fans, to Ando Preem, home of the benevolent Andovi Bindu monks. Your host, the wisest of the wise, Ten Abu Donba. The current record holder for this track is Aldar Anakin Skywalker.
lap record.